A few weeks ago at Computex, AMD announced an extension to their EXPO memory technology called EXPO ULL, or ultra low latency, which promises an increase of around 4% over regular EXPO. And happily, G.Skill has sent me 2 kits of ULL memory so I can try it for myself. The snag is, one kit is $530 and the other kit is $630. So here we have $1,160 of DDR5 memory. Goodness me, aren't we living through strange times? When you look at a module of modern desktop memory, you're actually looking at the heat spreader and the light bar that runs along the top of the heat spreader. Remove the heat spreaders and you can see the memory chips. In this case they're SK Hynix, and you may also see chips from Samsung or Micron. In the center of the PCB you can also see some other chips. These regulate the power to the memory chips and include the SPD, or Serial Presence Detect chip, which is where the settings are stored for your memory module. It's the settings stored in the SPD that allow you to go into the BIOS and enable EXPO on an AMD processor or XMP for Intel, and the memory speed is magically increased. Technically this is overclocking, however it's a one-click operation and is absolutely essential to get the best out of your PC hardware. In this screenshot from CPU-Z on the left we have the base speed for the memory. In this instance it's DDR5 4800, and on the right hand side we have the EXPO setting, which is DDR5 6000. The numbers might be slightly confusing because the first D of DDR stands for double. So DDR5 4800 is an actual speed of 2400, double that you get 4800, and the EXPO setting is 3000, double that and you get 6000. But you will note there are other figures, and when EXPO is enabled these figures decrease. That's because they're timings measured in ticks of the clock, and the lower the number, the faster the response. Those timing figures shown in CPU-Z are known as the primary timings, and they have some obscure names: CAS latency, raster CAS, RAS precharge cycle time, bank cycle time, and so on. If you want to look into what each of those timings means or does, that's quite straightforward. Every memory manufacturer will give you further information on the subject. In this instance we're looking at a page on Corsair's website. These are industry standard figures, so Corsair CAS latency is the same as G.Skill CAS latency is the same as ADATA CAS latency. And generally speaking, we look no further than these primary timings. When we look at this product page on Newegg, showing a number of kits of G.Skill Trident Z5 NeoX RGB, at first glance they look very similar, but you'll notice 3 of the kits are priced at $630 and 1 kit is priced at $530. The 3 more expensive kits are DDR5 6000, but the timings are 30, 38, 38, 32, while the cheaper kit, and I use the term relatively, is DDR5 6000 with timings of 36, 36, 36, 76. And that's enough information to tell you that 3 of the kits have SK Hynix memory chips, while the cheaper kit runs on Samsung silicon. When we look at a specific product page from G.Skill, and the same is true of every other memory manufacturer, you see the speed and the primary timings and the operating voltage. Behind the scenes there's far more going on. In addition to primary timings, we also have secondary timings and tertiary timings. And when we look in the BIOS setup screen of our motherboard, we can see page after page of these settings. All these settings are left on auto by default and have been filled in by the BIOS itself. In this case, we're relying on the good works of MSI to get things right, which is why we so often recommend that you use a QVL list to select your memory for a given motherboard. You want to make sure your memory is fully supported by the motherboard and the latest BIOS. So when you buy a kit of DDR5 memory, you'll be familiar with the EXPO speed rating and the primary timings, but behind the scenes there are a mass of secondary and tertiary timings that are being set by the BIOS.
Back to school deals are back, and you don't actually have to be in school. So grab the essentials and a PC you'll actually be working on. Who are we kidding? And head over to the CyberPower PC website and browse the back to school sale. Next level PCs at next level prices, only while stocks last.
And now we have a better understanding of EXPO, let's take a look at EXPO ULL.
Hey, I'm Bill Alverson from the AMD overclocking team, and we launched the new version of EXPO featuring ultra-low latency here at Computex. We took what the community was already doing with regard to tuning, manual tuning, and we brought that into the lab, refined it a little bit, and did a lot of testing. So I've accumulated around 14 machine years of testing on this to make sure that this was going to be solid when it was launched. With ultra-low latency, the memory vendors have slightly more stringent test requirements to relax the refresh policy, right? And so it's very common for folks to tune TREFI and the refresh timings for TRFC. And so we brought that into the profile as a one-click profile that's been validated by the memory vendor.
Now my question for Bill is, does this mean that by enabling EXPO low latency, that we normies are actually going to get some of the magic that he has to get through pure hard work in the past?
Yeah, like I said, we took what folks were already doing in the community. A lot of people don't want to do manual tuning in the BIOS or using Ryzen Master. They're afraid of messing something up or corrupting their data or whatever it is. They're just not comfortable doing it. So we kind of took what people are already doing and put it into a one-click profile. We ran a bunch of different configurations, and one interesting thing is like a common 6000 CL36 kit, when you apply ULL to it, it brings it almost into performance parity with 6000 CL28 kit, right? Which is like two different price brackets altogether.
With that information under our belts, we can better understand AMD's claims about EXPO ULL. Enabling EXPO gives us about 10% performance over JEDEC or default settings, which is a step up from 4800 megatransfers to 6000 megatransfers, and enabling ULL gives us a further 4%. We would have been using EXPO in any case, so the 10% is a given, and with this new memory, we're looking for that extra 4%. Testing this new NeoX memory gave us a bit of a conundrum. We had no difficulty choosing a motherboard because basically any modern motherboard would do the job. We chose this MSI Mag-X 870 Tomahawk Wi-Fi because it's a completely mainstream motherboard. It has a new BIOS which supports the newer Giza, which supports the ULL feature. That's nice and straightforward. We've got the two kits of NeoX ULL memory I've already mentioned. We have a kit of DDR5 6000 which is not ULL, and we have a kit of DDR5 8000. When it came to our choice of processor, I've done most of the testing with a Ryzen 7 9700X, a non-3D part. But I have also used a Ryzen 7 9850X 3D, and the reason for using 9700X is because I was asked to, not this specific processor, but I was asked to use a non-3D processor, and that's because the extra cache in a 3D processor makes the processor fairly agnostic about memory, and we saw exactly that when I reviewed some ADATA DDR5 6000 around Christmas time, so 7-8 months ago. With the 3D processor, it's not really that fussy about memory. So Ryzen 7 9700X. And then we have the question of the graphics card. With the 9700X, it makes perfect sense to use this Red Devil RX 9070 XT. It's a decent mid-range graphics card. On the other hand, if you're using the king of gaming CPUs, the Ryzen 7 9850X 3D, should you not be using something rather better than 9070 XT? Should you not be using an RTX 5080 or 5090? Well, possibly so, but how much testing am I going to do in this review? So, I've used two CPUs, I've used 4 kits of memory, I've used 1 graphics card, and now let's take a look at the charts. We're starting with Geekbench 6.7 multi-core. The 5 yellow bars are running on the Ryzen 7 9700X. The 2 blue bars, Ryzen 7 9850X 3D. At the bottom of the chart, we have some regular DDR5 6000 CL28. And the score is 16,766. Above that, we have the Royal Neo DDR5 8000 CL38, scoring slightly higher. And then we step up to the Trident Z5 NeoX. This is the CL30 model with SK Hynix chips running on regular EXPO, not ULL. and the score is 17,295. Above that we have the other kit of NeoX with the white heat spreaders, so DDR5 6000 CL36 with Samsung chips, running on EXPO ULL, it scores 17,456. Third from the top we have the NeoX kit, DDR5 6000 CL30, so SK Hynix, running the EXPO ULL profile. That scores very slightly higher at 17,537. Second from the top we have the CL30 kit running on EXPO, 19,249. And at the very top we have the CL30 kit running on EXPO ULL, 19,661. In this benchmark test, it's clear that EXPO ULL does indeed have some advantage. We're talking 1 to 2%. And while this is a small win, it's a positive start for Trident Z5 NeoX. Cinebench 2026 Multicore is all about the CPU rather than the system as a whole, and we see the results are mixed up and also much closer together. At the bottom of the chart it's the DDR5 8000. Second from the bottom we have the NeoX. This is the CL36 kit with Samsung chips running on EXPO ULL, scoring barely higher. Above that we have the regular DDR5 6000 CL28 on EXPO, and then it's the NeoX kit running at CL30, first in EXPO and then in EXPO ULL. For me the bigger point of interest is the separation between the two blue bars, the Ryzen 7 9850X 3D, where we see the EXPO ULL setting beating regular EXPO by 4.5%. In 7-zip we start with the decompressing benchmark and we see very little difference between each of the types of memory. However, in the compressing test there is a certain amount of separation, and you can clearly see this with the two blue bars, the Ryzen 7 9850X 3D, where EXPO ULL beats regular EXPO by a small margin. If we look right down the bottom of the chart we see the regular Trident Z5 Neo, which is clearly beaten by the new Trident Z5 NeoX. The AIDA64 memory bandwidth test is interesting because it doesn't follow the usual formula of speed and latency. At the bottom of the chart we have the regular Trident Z5 Neo DDR5 6000. Above that we have the DDR5 8000. We'd have expected to see that further up the chart. Then we have the new Z5 NeoX DDR5 6000 CL30 running on EXPO. Above that we have the white NeoX CL36 running on EXPO ULL. And then we have the better Z5 NeoX CL30 running on EXPO ULL. If you look at the two blue bands, the Ryzen 7 9850X 3D, you can see that the first and third bars and the second and fourth bars are effectively identical. In other words, this test is all about the memory and not about the processor. AIDA64 memory copy test looks similar but throws up a peculiar result. At the bottom we have the regular DDR5 6000 followed by the Royal Neo 8000. Then we have NeoX DDR5 6000 CL30 on EXPO, and above that the two EXPO ULL figures. That's exactly as we'd expect. But you will note the Ryzen 7 9850X 3D figures at the top of the chart don't really belong at the top of the chart. Using a 3D processor can certainly throw up some unexpected results. Moving on to gaming, Far Cry 6 at 1440p, which we'd expect to be pretty much graphics limited. At the top of the chart we can see the Ryzen 7 9850X 3D bars in blue. The average doesn't change when you enable EXPO ULL, but it does help the 1% lows by 6 FPS. As we go down the chart and we move to the yellow bars with the Ryzen 7 9700X, we can see that EXPO ULL delivers a distinct advantage. Down at the bottom of the chart it's pretty much a tie between the regular DDR5 6000 and DDR5 8000. Far Cry 6 at 1080p, we can see there is some separation in the two blue bars for the Ryzen 7 3D processor, but 5 frames out of 255 is clearly trivial. It's also fair to say there isn't much of a spread between the figures for the Ryzen 7 9700X. However, EXPO ULL does have a very small advantage, but as a percentage it's absolutely tiny. Assassin's Creed Mirage at 1440p. From top to bottom, at the very top we've got 143.6 FPS on average, down at the bottom 138 FPS. Again, the spread is small, but it is notable that EXPO ULL fills out the top 3 places in the chart. It's also noteworthy that the Ryzen 7 3D processor doesn't have a significant advantage over the regular Ryzen 7 processor, so once again we can conclude the graphics card is the limitation here. There's slightly more of a spread in Assassin's Creed Mirage at 1080p. The 3D processor pulls out a small advantage over the regular processor, and EXPO ULL is also worth 2 or 3 FPS on average. Cyberpunk 2077 at 1440p. Again, the spread from top to bottom is very small, about 154 FPS down to 150. As a percentage, it's very slim pickings. And you'll also note with the two blue bars for the Ryzen 7 9850X 3D, you can argue about the order they should be in. I've put them with the highest average at the top, but you'll notice the highest 1% low is actually in second place. And that's the figure with the EXPO ULL. All things considered, in this chart, basically it's a tie. Cyberpunk 2077 at 1080p, there's more of a spread here, and you can see there's a slight advantage for EXPO ULL, but we're only talking a couple of FPS on average. Before we come to my conclusions about this G.Skill Trident Z5 NeoX RGB memory with EXPO ULL, we have to discuss the subject of price. AMD told us that EXPO ULL would carry a negligible premium over regular EXPO memory. However, video cards ran a story demonstrating that EXPO ULL in fact appeared to carry a very significant premium. There's no denying the kits of memory we featured in this review are very expensive, but if you dig around at Newegg, you can find kits that are even more expensive, and these kits would appear to be sponsored. If we ignore those sponsored products, it would appear that EXPO ULL memory is priced around the same level as regular EXPO memory. It's also a fact that G.Skill is the first to market with EXPO ULL memory, and it's one of the smaller brands, so finding representative prices is tricky to say the least. And as we finally come to my conclusions, I'm showing you the memory in action. Trident Z5 NeoX looks to my eyes just like Trident Z5 Neo, which is fine. But of course we're discussing the technology of ultra low latency, and we come to my pros and cons. On the good side, EXPO ULL gives a useful boost over regular EXPO. Secondly, it's a single click to enable. You go in the BIOS and you have the option of either EXPO or EXPO ULL, provided of course your motherboard supports ULL, but all AMD AM5 boards should have no trouble whatsoever with this technology. Update the BIOS and I can pretty much guarantee ULL will be there, but of course your motherboard manufacturer will make that plain. And the final pro is I've had rock solid stability. I ran memtest on both of these kits and they both passed without any difficulty. Cons, the negatives. Buying any DDR5 memory at present is a grim experience, eye-wateringly expensive. And secondly, and perhaps more significantly, 3D Ryzen CPUs show less benefit from this technology than regular Ryzen CPUs. And of course, KitGuru has long recommended Ryzen 3D as a superb technology, particularly for gamers. Yes, you pay a slight premium for 3D. On the other hand, the benefits are wonderful. As to my award, let's flip a coin mentally, and I'm going to say it's an 8.5 out of 10 and a worth buying. Do please check us out at kitguru.net, and of course, we're on TikTok.